All right, good day, good evening, good afternoon. This is Alex Haigh with EXP and the Haigh Group of the Treasure Coast. Today we're going to go over the top 3 things you do not want to fix on your house if and when you're thinking about selling. Again, those are the top 3 things you're not going to want to fix when selling a house. Stay tuned. All right, so the number one out of the top 3 things, the number one thing, this is in Florida. I don't know any place else in the States where we see these as prevalently as we have in Florida, but the HVAC system. A lot of the older homes in these areas, and those are homes built between like the 80s and probably the early 2000s, some of them had these HVAC systems. It's a home vac system. Basically, it's a giant vacuum cleaner in the garage where there's one suction unit and then there's lines that go through the whole house that you can plug into. Some people absolutely love HVAC, others can't stand it. But the point is, do not go fixing an HVAC system because those are going to cost a lot, A, and B, it's just not something you're going to get back out of the house. You might find that person that absolutely loves HVAC, and then you might find somebody that absolutely doesn't care for it at all, and you just spent $5,000 or $6,000 or $7,000 to get the system redone. Don't do it. The other thing, for instance, GFI. So this is electrical. HVAC would probably be an electrical issue. There are other electrical issues like the ground fault indicators that have that little button that you press. Some electricians will say, "Oh, you got to have to do the whole house." But that doesn't necessarily mean that you need to from a code standpoint. So if you need to have something done from a code standpoint, certainly. But if not, don't go changing all of the GFI switches or all of the switches over to GFI so they have a ground fault indicator. Maybe just in the kitchen where you're going to get things you're going to have a little bit more wet or so forth. So the next thing I want you to be thinking about is anything that has to do with electrical that doesn't have to do with a fire hazard. So maybe the lights don't turn on in a room or something like that. You want to take a look at that from a standpoint of there could be a faulty switch in there or something like that. Those are good ideas. So that's it. As far as electrical, will be the HVAC and the ground fault indicators. Number 2 thing that you do not want to be fixing when changing or selling a house would be old windows. Don't be going, "Oh, well, let's change the windows." That's a lot of money. You're not necessarily going to get the money back out. Somebody might not care who's buying the house. You might have went and got all new impact glass. Could be $30,000, $40,000, $50,000, $60,000 to redo a house completely. You're not going to get that money back out. So don't go putting all new windows in a house. Not a good idea at all. Another thing that you don't want to be doing is putting in new appliances and thinking that you're going to get, if you go out and get a new appliance package and you spend $6,000 or $7,000 or say $8,000, $10,000 on that, don't think that you're going to get that money back out. So windows and appliances are number 2 things that you do not necessarily want to fix on a house and think that that is going to increase the value. It is simply going to kind of have a perceived value. Oh, great, the house is more economical. Great, but you spent $60,000, but it doesn't increase the value of the house by that much. And number 3 is don't be doing any partial upgrades to the home. So what do I mean by that? Okay, well, you started maybe maybe there's a den that you always wanted to make a 3rd bedroom, but you weren't able to put in a proper closet, but you just put in a door. Maybe you did like a sliding door and you didn't put a closet in. Make sure whatever it is that you're doing, if you're doing upgrades to the home, don't half do it. Have it go all the way. So talk with a real estate agent before you start making additions and so forth. You definitely want to talk to an agent about these 3 things. And there might be other things that you're thinking about doing to the home that I could go into, but I'm not going to go into them here. I want to go into the top 3 things that you're not going to want to do. So you're not going to want to do the HVAC, number 1, or any minor or electrical like GFIs. Number 2, you don't want to be doing new appliances or windows. And number 3, you do not want to be doing partial upgrades to the home. Go all or nothing and make sure you ask your real estate agent about them. Till next time, I hope this is helpful. We'll see you on the next one.